So, are we ready to talk about WrestleMania?
Let's talk about WrestleMania, the arcade game.
And the things you forget when you're old. Because we did watch it. We wanted to watch a couple of different... We watched it together. Footage of the game on YouTube. We wanted to watch a couple of different versions. And, of course, we started with the actual arcade version of the game. And that's the version I remember the most. Now, when we were kids, the only arcade I really remember going to was Aladdin's Castle. Blaze reminded me of the name of it last week because I couldn't remember. That was our mall arcade.
Yeah, that was Aladdin's arcade at the mall.
This game came out, and they only had one. Because this was not a large arcade. There were very few games they had two of. Like the car racing games and stuff like that, there'd be two. One game. And I remember going there and waiting hours and hours. I remembered a lot about this, and it didn't take much footage before you caught on too, because I was like, dude, this was like their Mortal Kombat wrestling game.
It really was. It felt like Mortal Kombat. The way the animation is, because it's
like the actual like
realistic
characters.
Looking sprites.
Yes,
and then the movements, they had powers. They even had a finisher. Undertaker literally
did a fucking
do a finisher where he brings a coffin from the
ring.
From the underground of the ring, throws the enemy in there, closes it, brings it down, and a little RIP comes out.
Yeah.
Once in the videos we watched, one time Razor Ramon was lying there because it was a 2-on-1 handicap match. He throws Bret Hart in, and then the coffin goes down, and the RP comes right up into Razor's nuts.
Yeah, so because they all
bad placement.
They all have special moves they could do. They also all like spit shit out when they get hit. Like Bret gets hit and it's hearts. Luger gets hit and it's dumbbells. What is it when Yoko gets hit? So let's
a lot of different things.
Let's try
a whole ass chicken.
Okay, so at first you're like,
or turkey.
He's like a chicken's a little weird.
Yeah.
Then it's a fish, and he's like, well, I guess it's a Japanese sumo, whatever.
A little racist, but
then it's a fucking ham hock.
It's ham hock.
So
it's
basically, what's
we
happening
go with
here?
Either Japanese, which he's not.
No, when the ham hock came out, I was like,
which in fairness,
maybe
Japanese is on an island.
Maybe
seafood is a very, very popular in Japan. To my knowledge, I've never been to Japan.
Right.
But to my knowledge, they eat a lot of fish because of being on an island.
Yeah.
I think that's just normal for people that live on an island. You get a lot of fish. You live on an island. You're right next to the ocean.
But then the ham hock came out, and I'm like...
But ham hock...
he's just a fat ass. That's all it is. Like,
I mean, I don't know which is worse, the ham hock or the whole-ass turkey. The fucking whole-ass turkey comes out.
Wow.
It's like, this is just saying... What we can say about Yoko is he's fat.
Yes. Everybody else is getting like stuff that now. Mind you, like
Weird Al.
I mean, I'm fat. Come
you
on.
know it. Shamon.
Eat it. Weird Al's a treasure. You all know that.
He is.
You know how we feel on this show.
Speaking of, I watched Weird.
I still haven't watched it. Not exaggerated at all.
I loved it.
Not exaggerated at all.
Not exaggerated. True story.
It's on my list, and I'm going to get there.
Loved it.
So, for those of you that are too young or too old to remember, this game was made by Midway, who also made Mortal Kombat and made NBA Jam. So, it makes sense that they decided, hey, let's see what we can do with a wrestling game. Now that Blaze, luckily, see, this is why I watch footage too, because this Wikipedia basically made it sound like every version was the same. Every roster was the same. We watched the arcade version first, though, and the only announcer we heard was Vince.
The arcade version only has Vince.
Yeah, it was only Vince.
And the PlayStation 1 version had Vince and Jerry the King Lawler, and had better sound.
And better graphics.
Better sound. I don't know if I noticed so much that the graphics...
Not a lot.
It wasn't a huge difference between the arcade version and PlayStation... But definitely, the sound just was clearer on the PlayStation than the arcade version. And normally, back in those days, your arcade games were better quality, better everything than any console because they were able to do more cutting-edge graphics where the consoles didn't have, all that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, your console games are just about as good as your arcade games. There isn't a huge... drop off.
Right. But boy, there was on the Super Nintendo.
Oh, the Super Nintendo graphics are very different.
So they had nothing coming out of them when they got hit.
No.
They did have their special whatevers, and then they had weird shadows under them. It was the only game where they had like this black circle under every wrestler.
Well, the PlayStation was a lot more powerful, and the arcade was a lot more powerful, and Super Nintendo was only 16-bit. Yeah. So it just didn't have the power capabilities. There was also less wrestlers. You only had 6 choices. That was on
Nintendo, right? Super Nintendo?
Super Nintendo only had 6. It was missing Yokozuna and Bam Bam.
Oh, I guess I could, by the way. These were the 8 wrestlers, except that one, that were on the roster. It was Bret the Hitman Hart, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Bam Bam Bigelow, Yokozuna, Doink the Clown, and Lex Luger.
Here's the funny thing, though. The Super Nintendo version had Doink, but not Yoko or Bam Bam.
Or Bam Bam, yeah. Had Doink and Luger. But that's...
And, I mean, we've
been by the way, this probably makes sense. So all the objects coming out of them when they were getting hit, that was them bleeding. So instead of blood in this game...
of blood... Yeah,
I guess I didn't think about that when we were watching it, but that's what they were doing.
Oh, yeah, there was sweat and that stuff.
And I can't help but notice that all the footage we watched, to me, it looked like Undertaker had the most badass stuff. Like, this game was almost like, we're going to make Undertaker
he shoots
the most
out
badass
souls,
character.
And then
when he's doing choke slams, he has, like, that look where he's, like, I don't know, like his soul's moving or something. Like,
and then he would also bring out a tombstone and whack it over people's heads.
The one guy he pinned, and when he sent his hands through his nuts, I don't know why he kept ripping people's balls out. But that's what he was doing. And he ripped the guy's balls out, and he pulled an urn out. Like, he punched into his chest, and he just ripped an urn right out of there. Like, good stuff, you know. So, but I do remember playing this game a lot. I remember that's why it was fun. And then we were watching, you know, the first video we were watching him go through. So there were 2 ways you could do this. There were single-player modes. The single-player mode was going for the Intercontinental title or the World title, and you had to do 2-on-1 handicap matches. We watched this whole video. Just when we thought it was over, basically you had to face everyone on the roster in a 2-on-1 match, and then face them all in a 3-on-1 match to win the damn title.
Yep.
And the first video we were watching was just somebody as Undertaker just steamrolling everybody. But it did say that it did have head-to-head also, where you could go between 2 players. But it was pretty cool. It had like all their graphics used to get back in the day on the shows when they were having interviews and stuff. Like the wrestlers' logos, I guess, would pop up.
Yeah.
They all had like their own little... thing at the end. If they won the title, it was a story about, you know, it got dark, Undertaker ran away with the belt, you know what.
I was surprised Yoko's name wasn't spelled out in food or bacon or some shit. They went with actually it kind of looked cool. It was like a Chinese character or Japanese character inspired name.
Yeah. I mean, there were some similarities you could see, like even the page where you pick the player almost looked like the Mortal Kombat tower. Like, there were so many little things you can tell there's even one point in the game where the screen is a bunch of rocks that are busted and there's lava, like, it was, like, so Mortal Kombat-y. More than I even remember.
There was one point, somebody got uppercutted up in the air, and I was expecting them to fall down into spikes instead of a ring.
And I was so waiting for someone to say finish him, but they never did, but they would pop up on the screen, pin him. Not finish him. Pin him.
Or, you know, throw him in a freaking casket.
Yeah, so...
That's what...
Other than picking on the fat Asian man who's not even Asian, it was pretty good game. I do remember being fun.
I don't remember this game as much as I remember In Your House.
Yes, which I did look up
which was very similar, probably had more characters.
Also made by Midway.
And it
comes out the next year, so...
Yeah, I remember
and I don't remember In Your House, so it'll be interesting to watch footage from that one, because I saw some screenshots, and I do not remember that game.
Yeah, it looks very familiar to me.
It looks like they even might have stepped it up a little more.
I think, obviously it's the next year.
Notch,
I think they stepped it up, and I think they had more powers.
Yeah,
like this was kind of minimalistic with the powers.
And by the way, besides the powers, everybody pretty much had chop, kick, punch. Like, there wasn't really a lot of... This was all based on...
No, they had some... I mean,
arm drags and stuff. But
I saw Bam Bam do this backbreaker where it looks like he literally broke
I guess
his
I'm
back.
saying instead of the wrestling, this focused more on this was supposed to be the over-the-top, combat-ish type. But I remember it being a blast. I do.
I had fun with the In Your House version. I just don't think I ever played this one as much.
Yeah. But In Your House, like I said, the screenshots I saw, it looks like they even took it farther with... It looks like there's some different scenes, too, besides just being in a ring. It almost looks like it's even more... So I'm excited to get to that because I don't remember that game. So that's gonna be interesting. So.
off the top of your head, have you already looked into 96? Like, how many do we have different video games? I did not
go
look through.
Yet. I did not look yet. So
and are we going to go through the WCW ones too, or just WWF? I can't remember if me and Rage did that back in the day.
If we only focus. I think you were just doing the WWF since that's
So
because we're going to start getting multiple games every year.
Yeah.
Probably 96 is probably.
Because I have a long time before I get to talk about WCW versus NWO World Tour or Revenge.
Yeah, we got a long time before we get to
Those were great.
You guys may not have even had a WCW game yet. Now I'm trying to. I listened to all the episodes, but I can't remember if you even reviewed one yet. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, I have not done my research yet to see what we got in 96.
I feel like we did.
I know it's more than one, though, I'll tell you that.
I feel like there was one where we did a non-wrestling, like a non-WWF game, but it wasn't WCW or WWF.
And you have that again because there's there's 7 games that come out in 96, but only 2 are, one's a WWF, one's a WCW, and all the rest are, a different. Fire Pro Wrestling released 4 different games that year.
Fire Pro?
Yes. Fire Pro Wrestling was really popular in the 80s, and it's hard to describe. It's more like the 8-bit type video game, and still is to this day. Like, they released one a few years ago, and it's still done in the 8-bit style. Yeah, Fire Pro Wrestling is in Japan. It's based on New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But actually, when the last one they released has, like, Kenny Omega's on there, because he was wrestling in Japan, so a few of those guys you see in AEW, but it's all 8-bit. It's all the old school.
Okay.
Yeah. So, there you go. Alright, so do we have anything else to say about WrestleMania, the arcade game?
No.
Like I said, it came out in 95, and it just, depending on what system you had, depended on when you got it, that's all. It just depended.
When was the first one?
So, the actual... See, this, for some reason, Wikipedia doesn't give you a month on the arcade. For the arcade version, it just says 95. That's all it says. But on Sega, it came out in November. On PlayStation, it came out in October here, in November in Europe, which is weird. It came out in May on the Saturn, and it came out in November. So most were November, it looks like. November was also Super
That's
NES.
weird, Europe in here. So normally, like way back in the day especially, normally Japan would get games 6 months early.
Yeah.
But then we would get them like 6 months later.
And actually, I just noticed interesting, it didn't come out for the Saturn until May of 96. So that's interesting.
Huh.
I don't know why, but there you go.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, interesting.
All right.